Good evening all. I would like to say hello and welcome to our first guest on Every Other Saturday Kitchen in conjunction with the Battle Fever Network. And we have got Paul here from Erskine, and he's one of the founder members of the whole thing. I'm going to be speaking to him about the Battle Fever podcast, about Rangers Football Club. We're going to do a bit of cooking as well. We're going to have a laugh, and we're just going to get the ins and outs, see what we think, what's going on with the team, the players, the coaching staff, how the club's run, everything that's got to do with Rangers. We're going to speak about that tonight. So welcome, Paul. It's been a pleasure to see you.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Not at all. No, it's been a long time in the planning. This.
Oh, it certainly has.
It's been really well. I was checking back some of the texts, and I've got texts for I think 6 months ago.
6 months.
And messages on Twitter and such like. But we're finally here, and I must say I'm really looking forward to it. But thanks for coming through. You've travelled a fair distance on a Tuesday night.
It's alright. It's just people who know me on the podcast will know I absolutely love sitting on the M8 in traffic. It took me 40 minutes to get through Glasgow.
just do your head in that. We're only 15 minutes from our office, so I'm just up the road and we're here in jig time. So I'm going to speak to you. I want to know about the Battle Fever podcast, how it started, how it came about, who was the founding members, let's say. And we're going to be talking about the football, about the team as well. So tell me about what we're going to do as well. I'm going to cook. I'm going to make something to eat, as I said. I'm going to make a beef and oyster sauce dish for Paul. So I'm going to be cooking this as we're chatting away. So just bear with us because this is the first one as well. But it's not something I've not done before, and certainly in front of a camera. So we're going to do some beef and oyster sauce with some noodles, and during that cooking process, we'll get a bit of chit chat going.
Sounds good to me.
Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Right, so before we get started, I'm going to tell you what I've got here and then we can get into the football chat. So I've got a bit of fillet steak. There's about 200 grams there. That's for 100 to 150 grams per person of beef is probably about the ideal portion, I would say. For me anyway. As you can see, I'm not a big eater. Honestly, God, I tell you what I eat. These donuts. Pester with phone calls, what a nightmare. I wonder if I can switch it off. Or no matter. Fillet steak, noodles, 2 nests of noodles, 3 garlic cloves, a couple of sharp knives, wooden spoon, asparagus, caster sugar, white pepper. What is that? That's fish sauce and that is oyster sauce. So that's the ingredients for this evening's dish. So whilst we're chatting, I'm going to get the prep done. Okay. I need to put my glasses on to do this.
That's quite alright.
I don't want to lose a finger when I'm chopping things. So tell us about the podcast, Paul, and when it got started, who was involved, and basically why you went for something like this.
The podcast was actually started by a guy called Scott Gray, who is the captain of the ship, if you want to put it that way. He started with a couple of his friends. He was watching a podcast, myself, Baz, Snags, Simi, called We Welcome the Chase. Now the We Welcome the Chase podcast basically ran its course, and it finished in 2020, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I'd been through a tough time. I'd been in the hospital for a little bit, and came out, and Scott found out that the We Welcome the Chase finished, and he basically said, "Look, do you fancy coming on?" So that's kind of what happened. I sort of joined the Battle Fever podcast. Got a bit nervous about doing podcasts again. But it was really good, and so that's basically what it was. So Scott was doing this. It was a slightly different podcast. It was all recorded stuff, and he was interviewing ex-players, and there was some really good interviews in there. If you want to go back and talking to people like Kenny Miller and all that sort of stuff, his time at the club, and it's very insightful stuff. So if you go onto the YouTube channel for the Battle Fever podcast, go back to the early stuff, and you'll see Scott's interviewing players, and it's. Even I was quite taken aback at just the depth of interviews he got from him. It was really, really good. So yes, that's how I get into the Battle Fever podcast.
So how long have you been involved in it then?
I've been, now this is my 3rd year.
Your 3rd year?
It was going for about 3 or 4 months before I joined it.
Right.
Yeah, along with Bazowski. and Simi.
He's a character, eh?
Or Baz. One of do you know? There's two Baz Brewskis. There's the online Baz, who's very much out there, but when you actually meet him, he's a big cuddly teddy bear. He'd do absolutely anything for your heart or cold. Oh yeah, he'd give you his last penny from his pocket just to make sure you bought a beer.
I spoke to him. I spoke to him a couple of years ago when I had the TFRM account.
Oh, okay.
And I can't remember how we got involved with managing to speak to each other. He might have been wanting some work done in his house because I've got a couple of businesses and he was going to phone me about that, but I think it was drifting. But then, and I followed him, and his header on Twitter's funny. Like was it the chief of the rock and roll?
Yeah.
I laugh at every time I see it. I look at it and I read it and I laugh at it. And but the one that he put on, he's got it on YouTube actually, where he's dressed up as the Archbishop with the gravestone.
Oh, yeah.
And he's talking about when you only take out to put the boot in there.
Yeah.
And he does that wee jump with the wellies and that.
That's right, yeah. He's a lunatic, but he's a lovable lunatic.
Aye.
Yeah.
And I've not spoke to Snags, but I've spoke to I've probably spoke to them on social media.
Yeah.
Not the way that you and I are speaking just now. But I know he's been involved for a while as well, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. Yeah,
Aye.
yeah. It's Snags sort of dips in and out occasionally, but no, he's actually done the match on Saturday with him,
Right.
in a pest gantry. So that was really good because I hadn't seen Snags in a long time because he lives in Swindon, so it's nice when he's up.
Is that where he's from?
Yeah,
right, I've got you, aye.
So he whenever he's up, we try and meet up, and it was just really nice. Yeah, so Snags gets involved in it as well, and it's good because the thing is, Snags used to be the host of the We Welcome the Chase.
Right.
And now all of a sudden I'm doing the hosting of the Battle Fever all but it's mainly Scott that does it.
Aye.
But if Scott can't do it, I step in as host.
Aye.
So the dynamic is shifted slightly, but it's still really good.
Aye.
You know.
Aye, no, I've tuned in a few times and then you get distracted and you're thinking, I need to go back into it, and I unfortunately sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. But that's fine. What's your thoughts on the team now? What I was going to say was, how Michael Beale's getting a tune out of that lot, I don't know.
Well, basically Michael Beale's getting a tune out of that lot because he's a decent coach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love Giovanni Van Bronckhorst a bit. He was an amazing player, such a nice, affable guy whenever you chatted to him in press conferences and stuff like that. But he's very he has a touch of coldness about him, and it's very much, and I don't mean disparaging in any way,
no.
A little bit of sort of Dutchness about him, do you know what I mean? Clinical. And I think that rubbed off on the players, and it didn't work very well with them. I know that I know for a fact they found the training very boring, very one-dimensional, and also this constant, the way he played, his style of play of this horseshoe business from going back across, and it just back and forth across, it didn't seem to work.
It was mind-numbing.
No, and then you see Ryan Kent stuck out on the left-hand side. And he's basically told to hug the left touchline, and that's not Ryan Kent's game.
No.
I mean, who would have thought when we came in that old what's his face Mackay saying to
Trixie for the
circus was going to completely decimate the confidence of the players, and ultimately it did.
That was the first day, wasn't it? Was that the first training session?
Yeah, the first one.
When I first seen it, I thought, imagine saying that to Davy Cooper.
Oh.
We don't want your trick. Imagine saying that to Brian Wardrop.
Yeah.
All these skills that you've got, didn't there.
No.
We'll do something different.
Yeah,
We'll do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Because it's a shame, because there's guys in that team get absolutely hammered with your support, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook or even at the ground. Now, my season ticket's long gone. I just get banging for it. I'm going to try and get up on Sunday with Big Alan, if you know Big Boy about town. I'm going to try and get up.
Oh yes, yeah.
He's going to try and get me a ticket. So
I've got one.
You got a spare one?
Yeah.
All right, well there you go.
You can have my season ticket if you want.
Oh, fantastic! No, well that's sorted. But I was talking to him about it, and it's. I think the players were, they were totally demoralised under Gio, yeah. and I get people saying Gio was he wasn't elite. He was a great player. He was a fine player for us. He went on to do bigger and better things, and I'm fine with that.
Mm.
If you've done your bit with us, you've won the trophies, you're scoring goals, you've contributed to our success. I'm good with that. But I never actually wanted them to start with. I didn't, because I thought to myself, this is fans ruling with their heart here. As an ex-player, he gets it.
Yeah.
I don't get that. I think those days of that type of manager coming to manage a club like us or another big football club they're gone. Football's a business. Has been for a long time now. Excuse me. Has been for a long time now. The trouble that I had with Gio was, and no his fault in any shape or form, he'd been put on a pedestal with our fans thinking that he's going to be the Messiah. And I said, when the appointment was made, I thought, I didn't want him because I didn't like him. I didn't want him, I just thought it was the wrong appointment. I says, we need to get this right. I says, because this will be, if he comes in, this has got a disaster all over it. And I said it to a couple of people, and I said it to Big Alan, and this was just when he joined, and there's a fella on Twitter, Cozy1972.
I know the name, yeah.
He's not scared to put his head over the parapet. I sent them a couple of messages. I'm not convinced. I didn't want this. I hope I'm wrong. Please let me be wrong. And it turned out I wasn't wrong. I was right. I was right for the start. As probably many other guys were. But where we are just now is, I think Michael Beale brought a bit of mixed emotions for people to come back, because he done so well when he was with Steven Gerrard. Because he was the brains behind the tactics. What I like about him is, see when it's not gone right, he can change it. He's got the know-how to change the dynamic of the team. But the weekend, it was a grind on Saturday, wasn't it? It was to get that, to dig that out. But it's 3 points.
But what I will say about Beale is, get a tune. To back to the original question, get a tune team. Basically, it's his man management style. It's the fact that players kind of know him, although he was slightly detached beforehand. They'll play for him, but they like his training, they like his style of play. He's brought a new vigour and a new sense of purpose to them. That's exactly what it is. They're not constrained and they're not confined. They're happier, they're more settled, and they want to play for them, and that's the difference. But what about Michael Beale, what I will say was, when he done the post-match press conference on Saturday, he did say, I don't know if it was available on open media or not. He said, some of the substitutions simply didn't work. He says, and that's completely on me. And this is what I like about Michael Beale, he's no nonsense. He says, that was completely on me. What these players have to understand, and what I'm drilling into them, and I said to them afterwards, is you do not play for yourself, you play for the team. Unfortunately, too many of the substitutions I made came out and played for themselves, and threw the balance of the team off, and that's why we ended up being in the position we were. No nonsense.
No, it's I like him, and he's got if he gets some money to spend, freshens that, you can see it already. We've got Hadji coming back, it's going to be like a new signing.
Yes, exactly,
Tillman, when he first came, I thought, who's this guy? I would race him. I'm sharper up there than him. I'm nowhere near as sharp as he is, and I see him now and I think, get him signed.
That's because he was deployed as a right winger, and that's not his position.
No. It's a shame what happened with some of the guys, but however, long may it continue, and the only way is up as far as I'm concerned with the guys. Nice cup final to look forward to. We're still in the race.
It's not over till the fat lady sings.
Correct, it's not over until the fat lady sings or the fat chef sings. What I've done here is I've chopped up 3 garlic cloves, Paul, I've diced this, or I've cut the fillet steak into strips. Now, the reason I use fillet steak is because, for a start, I prefer a fillet steak. If you use a frying steak or a bit of sirloin, because you're flash frying it, it'll tighten up really quick. Fillet steak's a wee bit different, it wants to be loved. Albeit it's only going to be cooking for maybe a minute, a couple of minutes, but it's not going to be raw, it's not going to be rare. It's going to be melting your mouth style. That's the way I like it. So what we're going to put in this as well, we're going to do some asparagus. So with this dish in particular, any crunchy vegetable, so I like asparagus, you could use broccoli, you could use green beans, you could use mange tout. You're not stuck for vegetables to put in, but I prefer this. Now a lot of people say, I've seen chefs saying, oh, when you get your asparagus you break the woody end off. You can do that. The easy thing to do, just take a knife to the ends. Job done. That's it.
But that's not as poncy.
There's no poncy. Right, so you're cutting this into 2-inch bits, because this is going to go into that there. That's already been washed, so it's important that you wash your vegetables. So I've done a wee bit of preparation with that, just run that under the tap, get a wee sluice. So we're kind of nearly to get things organised as far as cooking goes, so I need to get the wok out, I need to shift things around for a wee bit, give myself a bit of space. So put that there. So, going back to the team, when was your first game?
I have to say on camera.
You do?
1974.
Right.
and it was against, I think it was Dumbarton. 1-3-2. Now, the only reason I know that is because I had to go back and look at it. My aunt and uncle used to live just down from Ibrox Stadium,
Yep.
and what we used to be called Wine Alley. And of course, my father was at sea. He was Merchant Navy, an engineer, and my mother used to go and see him sometimes, so he'd leave my aunt and uncle. And I think my uncle was getting a bit fed up with me jumping about the house. So he stuck me in his shoulders, and he wasn't a football man, he just stuck me in his shoulders, and the turnstile we went, in the Broomloan end. And of course it was all open terraces at the time, so I was on his shoulders at my first football match.
Amazing. I was, my dad was the big, I'm from a wee village called Fullen, just down the road outside Stirling. It's a mining village. And my mum was a Rangers fan, and my dad was a Celtic fan from the top of the town in Stirling. My dad was a good Catholic, my mum's a Protestant, so I come from like the classic mixed marriage. But me being a mammy's boy, I sided with my mum. So that's how I ended up. But the first game that my dad ever took me to, my dad was friendly with Jimmy Bone, played with Celtic, Partick Thistle and St Mirren. But the first game my dad took me to was a Stirling Albion game at Anfield in Stirling. It was Billy Brenner's testimonial against Leeds United, and it was a great Leeds team. It was Alan Clark, Peter Lorimer, Billy Brenner obviously, all the big guns for Leeds back then. And then the first game that my dad took me to after that was the Scottish Cup final, Celtic against Dundee United. And of course I'm just a wee boy and I'm very know any better. After that, I wasn't a bit ever back at the football. My mum worked at Flynn Miners Welfare, and I said, I want to go to the football, I want to go see the Rangers, man. And well, I'll see, it was one of my dad's pals. My dad was the biggest wind-up merchant for doing there as well, so it was all good. So Bobby Hunter, the boy's name was, he took me to Partick Thistle. I went to the Jags, and it was at Firhill. The Rangers won 3-2, and I think that might have been in 77 or 78. And I'm trying to think what the strip was. The strip might have just been the regular blue shirt, with a big huge badge, no collar. I think that might have been the kit, but I'm not too sure.
That would have been at least probably because 78 the collar one came in.
With the red, white and blue collar?
Yeah, I think
that might have been my first Scottish Cup final. Was the 4-1 replay at 100 Park. That was my first Scottish Cup final, but that was the first time I went up in the supporters bus, just as a young lad, scarf tied around your wrist, as it used to be back in the day. So that was my first venture into seeing Rangers, and then seeing tickets came along, and I've been to been abroad and stuff, and seen some great games and seen some horror stories as well, as we all have. But that's my first venture into going to see Rangers, and it just goes with you, doesn't it?
It does,
it sticks with you.
So I grew up in a small island, so I very rarely got to go to matches. Then I'd go sporadically, and then of course I went to sea, and I had a season ticket for a couple of seasons, I think, and then I went to sea, and then I came back. I only when I leave the Merchant Navy, that was 2014, so 9 years ago. So really, for the last eight years, I've really sort of been back permanently. So it's only because of work.
Aye, magic. So listen, see in the podcast. So what's lined up for the next few weeks, the next few months? Is there anything in particular that everyone needs to know about, that we need to be tuning in?
Well, basically we do our weekly flag show on a Thursday night. Sometimes we go to the studio and record go live from studio, but we've not really done that recently because of Scott's been kind of busy with his personal commitments and stuff like that. So we'll do it remote. So we'll all be in our houses and we'll do it that way. We do live shows from a live stream pre-match from the press gantry, and then things like that. We were hoping to get some live shows, some live stage shows. But that's going to be sort of moved about a little bit. So there may be something, if we get the Scottish Cup final, we'll maybe do something prior to that, or maybe we might even do a live stage show on the day. Apart from that,
live, Erin Carton. Anything can happen.
Because we've done a few stage shows where we have former players come along, and that's really good. You have Q&A sessions, So we tend to have things like I say, we do a live stage show, we have the former players come along, we do buffets and there's live music and all that sort of stuff.
Well done, Robert. Players come along, stage show.
Stage,
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's alright. So,
I apologise.
no, that's alright. It's cooking, that's what it's about.
It's noisy.
So things like that. I maybe try and get something in towards the end of the season. We are trying to do one before the League Cup final, but preparations for that have had to be put on hold because of people's personal situations and commitments elsewhere. So because although we do a podcast, we do it regularly every week. We all have jobs. We all have lives. I mean, Scott himself, he's getting married shortly, so we're off to Amsterdam for his stag do,
right?
and it just happens it clashes with the Rangers, the Celtic Rangers. Yeah. So the problem is half the guys going to Celtic fans and half of us are going to Rangers fans. So it's going to be very interesting in Amsterdam.
Oh, amazing.
So
good.
we'll get things like that, and of course birthdays. The wedding anniversary.
Of course, life just to get
Of course,
and
of course, you know yourself, you've got a job to do, and there's pressures and stresses that go with just having an everyday job. So should be alright. Should be usable.
I've done a few recordings with that thing going on, and you can hear it, but I'm quite loud when I'm talking anyway. So my sister says, you don't even need a phone. Just go to the front door. Just go and speak to somebody at the front door. I'm that loud.
Yeah.
Right, what we're doing is, I've got a pot of water boiling here now. A wee tip, I don't know if you're aware. If you put salt in that pot, the boil will take longer to boil. Did you know that?
Yes.
Did you? See, proper chef. So let's season that. Proper chef. Right, so we're going to put the noodles in. And then we're going to get the wok. We'll switch the wok on. That was nearly, we'll get the wok on. Right, what we need? I'm needing oil. I'm needing groundnut.
I was going to ask what oil you're using. So
Well, groundnut oil ordinarily, yes. And I normally put this in. I put the oven on the wok. Put that on roasting, and you start to. Once the wok starts to smoke, that's it ready to cook in.
Yeah.
For those that didn't know. So we'll turn that down, do this with plate. So once the wok starts to smoke, as it's doing just now, that's ready for the oil.
I can confirm that it's smoking.
So I'm going to turn that down just a wee tad, because sometimes it can be a wee bit ferocious. Right, so the first thing to go in is the garlic. Now there's a sequence when you're doing this, to make sure everything goes in specific orders. So, the garlic's the first thing to go in. Right, the thing with this induction hob, see the minute you lift things off, it switches.
Yeah, I've got with the home as
They're
well.
a pain in the backside. Right, so once the garlic starts to just colour a wee bit, then you let it burn. If you let it burn, it'll be bitter, it'll be horrible, it'll be dreadful to eat.
I think we've all been there.
We've all been there, aye. So the reason that I use, groundnut oil or vegetable oil because it's tasteless anyway, as groundnut oil is. But groundnut oil's got a higher burn temperature.
I was going to say it's the temperature, isn't it, really?
Aye.
Look for it's in the wok.
That's it, especially a wok. Woks are designed, see a wok on a gas burner, amazing.
Yeah.
These things, they're alright, they could be a wee bit better. Could be a wee bit better. Right, so that's just starting to colour up. So, the beef goes in. Is there a bit for him? So I use a wooden spoon in the wok. It's just in very briefly. Don't want a wee bit of temperature. So you know about the carrier at Seville, eh?
No, go on, fill us in.
Right. What happened with Seville was I left it too late to get organised. I went into a shop, Barhead Travel List, tried to get myself in. They want me having it. Cut a long story short, I went down to Manchester to go on the flight to get to Portugal to get to Seville, and they turned me away because I didn't have my third COVID injection.
Oh, thank goodness.
So I lost 900 quid. I was 900 quid to sit in the house and watch Rangers lose.
You should have took the Gorgon Hotel. We made a big show on there with 400 people there. That was mental. I think that was all great.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, as a garden Seville, I kind of wanted to go. My neighbour, I got a ticket and he was away and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
But because I've got this guilt complex, because I spent 19 years of my life with my wife away from home for her. So I've always felt really guilty about going away and leaving her for some reason.
Yep.
And she said, come back one. And she goes, why do you not go to Seville? I said, because, it means, I don't want to go away and leave you, it's not for you, we're not having a holiday this year for various reasons. And I goes, why don't you just go? I don't mind. I said, well, really? And that time when the lights had gone and everything, so I was completely screwed. So, yeah. It was great about it, but I kind of messed up.
Some sugar, just to balance it.
It's caster sugar, yeah.
That was castor sugar, yes.
Would you use golden caster sugar or just ordinary caster sugar?
Just ordinary castor sugar. Put the sauce in that.
Is that oyster sauce?
That's oyster sauce.
Where'd you get that from?
I got that in Morrison's.
Morrison's, okay.
Heating it up.
And that's white pepper, yes?
White pepper for heat.
Yeah.
Yep.
How much is that? Is that a teaspoon?
Half a teaspoon.
Half a teaspoon.
Half a teaspoon of sugar, half a teaspoon of white pepper.
Right. I'm taking note of this, so I'm going to try and make it home. My ex-vegetarian wife is loves a bit of steak.
So that's what I steak.
It was, believe it or not, it was spare ribs, barbecue spare ribs in Applebee's in America that we took broken.
Right.
She's been vegetarian for 30 years now, sitting with some ribs. She said, can I have a taste of that sauce? Because she saw a barbecue sauce. And then she said, oh, that's really nice. And then we went back a few nights later. What do you want? Next thing I have the barbecue. What? My jaw hit the table.
Served up.
Smells amazing.
Squeeze there. Excuse me. Right, noodles. So normally when I do the noodles, I always have them al dente. So I've got a bit of bite in them.
Okay.
Done. Like green these. Pop that there. And then it's just a little bit of sesame oil on that. Then I let them sit because they'll just flag up. They'll just come out in one big lump.
It's a common error that is.
And sesame oil as well is just for it's just a wee tiny spot. What I've seen people walloping it in, and you think, what are you doing? Makes it all greasy and just unpleasant. Then there are your sesame oil. So just a couple of drips. That's it.
Is that toasted sesame here?
Toasted sesame oil, aye. Let's set that there. Nice up.
You should do it at the kitchen, put it up towards the camera, and then you can edit in simply the best.
Right, Daniel Boone. In fact, we'll just use that right there.
It's the other thing with induction hobs, make a funny noise as well.
I know. That's switched on, so that gets switched off. Think my pal.
Thank you very much.
Wait a second. Chopsticks for authenticity. That's there. What else have we got? You need a drink?
I've got one by any thanks.
You're good.
Yeah.
Right, that's us.
Excellent.
Try that, tell me drink.
That's unbelievable. Honestly, that's absolutely incredible. I paid for that.
See if you make that at home yourself, you'll never buy it in.
That is see with the bit of heat, you can feel the pepper coming through. There's a slight bit of sweetness, but a real depth of heat to it as well.
There's no many flavours in it, but you get the layers. You'll get the oyster sauce, you'll get the pepper. The fish sauce is the background that's like the beef, which absolutely stinks by the way. You know, fish sauce it's honky.
Oh, it's vile. That is honestly incredible. Oh, wow, look at that.
Whatever.
Are they homemade?
No. Yeah, of course they are. But I'm going to make them ahead. Like, no.
Honestly, that's amazing.
Yeah, you like that?
Mmm.
I'll get a wee taste.
Yeah.
And you're going to try it with
So your beef's only done for like 3 or 4 minutes, and the meat does at high heat.
It's actually overdone. I've done it a wee bit more than I normally would do.
You're busy chatting, that's why.
Aye, you can get distracted quite easily, as you know. So, going back to the podcast and such like,
Yes.
when we'd spoken on Twitter about who was it that done the badge, the Every Other Saturday Kitchen badge, who was it that done that?
That was Scott.
Was it Scott that done
Yeah,
that? They were really good.
He's really good at stuff like that, yeah.
It was excellent. I enjoyed looking at that. You know, I wish I could do things like I could do things like that.
So can I. I'm a technical terrorist, they call me. I used to call me the ship's a technical terrorist.
Right.
Just one of the radar's broken again. Technical terrorist.
Superb.
You know, Scott's very good at things like that. I think it was Scott. Maybe Gio. No, it's definitely Scott. Gio does stuff like that as well.
Right.
Gio from Ireland.
Right.
Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland, yes, yeah, absolutely. None of somebody chatting your door.
No, Gio's fantastic stuff. He does all the coasters and stuff. We used to have coasters.
That there, by the way, is the finished dish. I'll just let you see. And here, seeing as we've been having a dig at it, that's it, beef and oyster sauce.
It is phenomenal.
Too easy.
See? Aye, we've done it before, that's the thing.
Aye. It's, the thing is, with cooking, as you know, it's all about the preparation. I see guys, and I watch guys, I watch a lot of YouTube videos of guys cooking. James Martin's he's my favourite. He's my favourite chef. But I watch other amateur guys and I think, what are you doing that? Especially with TikTok. I've got TikTok just now and it's some of the bananas that's on that.
I think there's a guy who does a nutritional one. I know this is slightly off topic for our podcast here, but Scott Bapty does nutritional things from Aberdeen.
Ex-Falker player.
Might be actually, yeah. He does a nutrition thing like that.
Right.
And a lot of stuff is done in the slow cooker, and I've tried a few of them. They're unbelievable.
Is that right? Aye.
There's a Brazilian curry.
Right.
I'll pass you the recipe on.
Aye, but please do. I was I was going to make burgers for tonight. I was going to change it because I made burgers at the weekend. I got a nice bit of chuck steak. So it was a 70-30 split between chuck and brisket skirt. And the butcher minced it. There were great butchers just along the road. So I split it in two and I put black pudding and mozzarella through one half of the beef, and then I put red chillies and spring onions through the other with some mozzarella. I've never heard this world. They're tremendous. But I made one on Saturday and I was going to make it tonight and I thought the alarms go off because the smoke.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because you're grilling it on the high heat on the griddle thing. And I said, no, because I'm not here to sell talk with mine. Because it's these new connected things, everything goes off.
Yeah, of course.
Everything goes off, but we'll do something different. We'll make a nice curry the next time as well. So there's great scope. I was going to ask you about the media stuff that you do with Rangers. Do you guys get invited along to that? Or
Yes.
Yes. Is that invitation only that?
Yeah, well, we like Heart and Hand and the Four Lads and that do.
Yeah.
We pay for media access.
Okay.
So we're just there for one season to see what it was like.
Yep.
So we get to go to Auchenhowie for pre-match pressers.
Right.
So you can interview the players and the manager there. And then on match days you get to go in a couple of hours beforehand. So when we get fed and watered there. I mean, on Saturday we had a nice curry nice chicken curry.
Aye.
I used to go get venison.
Is that right?
Yeah, venison bourguignon that was out of this world, by the way. Fair play to the staff, and it was unbelievable. And then we'll then go up on the press gantry at 1:30, and we'll go live for 15-20 minutes, do our little thing. The team comes out, we'll see what that is, back down the press room, and then you go in the press gantry and you do what you do, watch the match, tweet what's going on in the match, and then post match you go back in and you have players come in from both teams, managers from both teams, you can ask them questions,
Right.
and all that sort of stuff. So you're granted all this. I mean, literally meet you with Michael Beale and ask them questions.
Is that right?
It's
Aye,
fantastic,
aye.
yeah. It's really good.
That's tremendous. I've got one of my suppliers, he's got a season ticket Ibrox. But he's not, it's the company he works for has a box in the new Sky Lounge, which he's had for a long time,
Okay.
prior to all being made up. So I get invited along. I've been a few times to sit with Robert in his company, and he's got 2 shirts because my daughter's pal, he's a Rangers fan. So he said, any chance you can get a Rangers? Because I says to Robert, he says, bring the tops in, I'll give them the lasses, they can get them sent. So I think I have to pick one up this weekend. But Bornas is the one that I want.
Oh, right.
He's my favourite player. And see, when I see him getting shredded, I'm thinking, well, and I'm quick to jump in and protect him because I didn't play at the highest level, but I played at a decent Saturday amateur level for fun. And watching the game throughout the years anyway, you get a good idea what players are trying to do and what the managers try to, how they're trying to play the game. And I see him getting shredded, he's a heart of a mouse, and but every player, there's no very many George Albertsis going about these days.
No.
With that power that can be like that, because players now they're athletes more than they're batters.
Yeah.
There's not very many of them. I mean, take John Lundstrom, the biggest guy in the park. Sometimes he gets knocked about quite easily. But Borna, I think, see, when boys shred him because he's trying to get the ball, and when he can't bring it forward, he's got to bring it back and then start again. So they're recycling the ball, rugby style. And I get that, but you get, no, just punt it for, to who? Because if he doesn't hit a player, he's got nothing on him, he's just punted it forward, he's going to get shredded anyway.
There's no outlet, there's no point in it. Yeah,
No.
You just try and retain possession, and that's why under Van Bronckhorst he was known as Borna Backpass, because there's no outlet. So that's why we had to pass it back all the time. But no, it was actually Borna was a Rangers player who came in post match on Saturday. I was literally a metre away from him, so you'd have liked that.
Aye.
You could do, I don't know who it was. It was a post Champions League match. I can't remember who was doing it, and they interviewed him. I know it was Stevie Clifford from Fort Leicester. He smells lovely. So, but yeah, no, the press stuff is very good. You do pay for the privilege.
Yeah.
And regardless of what people say on social media, and things like, especially when it comes to Heart and Hand and Poor Lads, why are you guys not asking our questions, or you get this special privileges? No, you pay to get into that. And I can absolutely assure you, Stevie Clifford is very, especially TV from Four Lads, was very vociferous with Van Bronckhorst, and he was, why are you not changing the style? It's not working. And I remember sitting behind Stevie once, and Gio said, I'm not changing it, it's fine. And the whole section went, oh.
Just so stubborn.
Yeah. And that's why it didn't work.
It's his downfall, really. Aye. It's a shame as well, because I don't want anybody that comes to your club, player, coaching staff, business side, I don't want them to fail.
No.
Because if they're successful, it means the club's successful. And that was, I mean, as I say, I didn't want Van Bronckhorst to fail. I didn't want any managers to fail, but when you see it, you're thinking, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think that the Europa League glossed over his feelings, peeled up the cracks. The rating was that the alarm bells started ringing. When we went behind in the league, not long after he'd taken over.
Aye, he turned it into 12. What was it?
Yeah.
It was a what's that? Was it?
6 points, a 12-point swing within the space of about a month and a half. The match at Celtic Park was a massive red flag for me personally.
Aye, it was, aye.
But these things happen. It is what it is. Gio's tenure was now finished. Michael Beale is in the door, and I sat in the press room, and he gave his little speech. And literally, as soon as he finished, I turned to Scott and I went, "Whoo-hoo!" Well, the Beale train, because this guy talks. He talks so well. the thing is, he's now backing it up with results on the park, and he's getting the players to play for them. And all
Yeah.
the players.
They're buying into
I
it.
know that McGregor, when first interviewed afterwards, said, how's training these days? And McGregor turned around and went, at least it's not in Bowden.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Try not to swear.
Aye. I spoke to one of my, Robert, I was talking about the supplier, his pal's friend was Scott Arfield.
Oh,
And he says that they'd done a training session on the day that Bale was announced as the manager. And so they do the training session first, then Michael Beale was getting introduced in the afternoon as the Rangers manager. He says, and see that day, that Monday morning training session, he says it was ferocious. Proper training. He says, and that's just what we've been missing. Players are like dogs, you've got to keep them, they're hard to get fit. It's easy to stay fit, it's difficult to get fit. But it's easy to stay fit. And you could see that their sharpness wasn't there at all.
No.
It was when he came in because they had a good pre-season under Steven Gerrard and Bale. And that showed in like say Europa League and the Scottish Cup final and the games that went to extra time and such like. So that was a telling thing for me, how sluggish they looked when they shouldn't be. They should be at the top of their game as far as fitness. When you look at that in Celtic,
Yeah, exactly.
they were dead on their feet after 60 minutes.
Yeah, because of all the attack.
Aye.
Yeah. Well, and that's the problem we gave Van Bronckhorst. We all thought, well, we got a Europa League final, won the Scottish Cup. Okay, the league wasn't great, but I'm sure we could turn that around. Once he gets his pre-season out of the way, you're going to see a different team. Oh, how great we were. Unfortunately, the different team was one that's worse.
Aye. Oh no, it was horrendous. It was dreadful. And the thing for me, see the Europa League final, Paul, I thought to myself, their greatest chance of getting that, because I was so confident. I thought I didn't think it was going to be easy. I thought we're going to bring that home.
Yeah.
And then we're going to parade that at Hampden Park with the Scottish Cup on Saturday after the game, when everybody's in. And I thought to myself, what he should have done, as far as the tactics went, he should have played Roofe, because Roofe was fit enough to be on the bench.
Yes.
I would have exhausted him on the hope that you could maybe nick something, protect it. Then when everybody's starting to tire, including us, you bring your speedsters, your Sakala and right one. Just play into the corners, and that means then that the opposition can't just pile forward for fear you get caught in the break.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It stifles their attack. But all we had to do was hang on for 10 minutes and then play those cards. But having said that, Wright was on the park at the start, wasn't he? He started the game, didn't he? And then by that time you're one each and you're thinking, you can still sneak it.
Yeah.
You can still sneak it. And then Kent at the end, I'm thinking,
it would have been disallowed anyway because the ball was out.
did it go out? I was going to ask you that.
But the ball was out.
Aye.
If you watch the replay, the ball was out.
But it was one of these things I think, this is as close as we're going to ever get to it.
I thought the stars had aligned because we won. Barcelona was a centenary.
Aye.
Then the 150th was last year. You think, God, it's all falling into
It's all
place.
place, aye.
Yeah, and
Like a jigsaw puzzle, there's the final piece.
I wouldn't say I was super confident, but I just had this thought that I got a funny feeling this might just happen. This might just happen.
I spoke to 2 or 3 of my Celtic pal mates and they say, see when you scored there, I'm thinking, oh no,
Aye.
you know, this is horrendous for them.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, I think back and I've not watched the game back at all. I've seen a couple of clips here and it's painful to watch. It actually hurts you physically. There's the goal scoring, I seen Aribo scoring and the fans going nuts and I'm thinking, it's even difficult to enjoy that because you
know the outcome is.
You know what the outcome is, aye.
It's disappointing.
Aye, it was bitterly disappointing. So I think the tactics in that game in particular, I think were all wrong. For me, bear in mind, I'm standing here, we're chatting, I'm not sitting in a dugout at one of the world's biggest football clubs.
Aye.
But however, that's the way I seen it and I thought we could have done better there. We should have won it.
We should have won it, yeah. Really.
We should have won it.
We got it slightly wrong.
We did, aye. So and then you lead on for that and thinking that team second in the Europa League, if they're beaten, because I think we beat better teams in the lead up to that final.
Leipzig fans said to me after the match, they said, you will beat Frankfurt. They are not a good team.
No.
They were convinced it was ours. Utterly convinced.
I think we all were. I think we were all convinced. But and then you go into the Champions League and I'm thinking, what's happened here? That was.
Yeah, well, for me, you all have to look at Liverpool just now, or Liverpool as I'm known. how on earth we managed to contrive to ship 7 goals to them? What is a dreadful Liverpool team right now?
What's the movie?
I'll go on, yeah, speak to Liverpool. How on earth we managed to ship 7 goals to them is, thank you very much, is absolutely criminal.
As I.
I think our match against Napoli at home, we played really well until the sending
All
off.
sending off.
I think we disappointing against Ajax. I mean, the match was over that point, but Liverpool for me was, to me, when we went down that. No, in fact, I'll backtrack slightly. After we lost against Ajax in Amsterdam, and Van Bronckhorst turned around and said, "We don't have the resources to compete. You know, this is we're well out of a depth here." I immediately went, "No, that's it. I'm afraid your time is done."
You can leave anytime.
Because that's a defeatist attitude. And only a couple of days beforehand, you come out and said, "I am happy with the squad we are looking at." No, all of a sudden you throw the board and everything under the bus. Don't come out and say one thing and a couple of days later say something completely different. You know, if you weren't happy with the squad, then you have to stand up and say it. I think Gio was too nice a guy. He was a yes man. He basically just capitulated to what the board wanted, and unfortunately, and I said it on the podcast. I'm getting my bringing the pressure and staring these guys in the face afterwards isn't particularly a great feeling. But I think the board were culpable, and absolutely they basically let Van Bronckhorst completely flounder. But maybe they just didn't trust him in the summer transfer when they went back him.
I think there's an element in that, because how much money did we make? Did we bring in £100 million?
Just shy of it.
Was it? Now, there's obviously people in that board there that have put money into the club. They'll be wanting their money back.
Yes.
With the interest.
And that's absolutely fine.
No got a problem with that at all. But the stuff that's left, you don't need to spend £50 million to win the league. You just need two or £3 million football players in key positions that are better than what you've got, or that are going to suit the system that you're going to play, and that's it. You can do that with 10, maybe 15 million quid. Now, I think the money that was not spent, where has it went?
Right, well, I know for the fact you've got new evidence in house. That was 10 million.
Yep.
But that's down to the fact that all supplies and everything up. I don't know, I think that's your game, isn't it? That's your sort of view, and know all about that much more than me.
Yep.
You get all the work being done in the stadium. There is an awful lot of work being done in the stadium.
Yep.
People don't see overcladding of fixing the roofs and overcladding of that. I mean, I know that Go Phil 3 names was always on it, but the roofs are falling down, the roofs are falling down. They weren't falling down.
No.
But they did need looked
Nearly
at.
10 there.
Right, they did need looked at. And some bits replaced, but there was nothing there that was going to cause any serious issues. But better be safe than sorry, so let's get it all done. So it was done that. Some money went in the playing squad, some has been put aside because there's an awful lot of stuff being done for the Blue Sky Lounge. Obviously, that costs a lot of money.
Yep.
And then you've got the new disabled facilities that come in,
Yep.
which to me are absolutely paramount. That's should be one of the first considerations really to put in, because those poor people sitting in wheelchairs and on down in front of the main stand, not a good view, getting soaked in freezing. It was bordering on inhumane, in my opinion. So I'm delighted that's been addressed, or going to be addressed.
Shameful, actually. We're
Yeah.
probably accustomed to doing that, or to treat someone like
But I think the club is moving in the right direction, and I don't just mean on the field, off the field as well, because there's an awful lot of work being done in and around the stadium and the training ground as well.
that.
I've seen with my own eyes, and it's going to be. I just wish they could sort things like toilets in all. I mean, I usually sit in the government rear, and the toilets there are just terrible. You know what I mean? So they need things like that need to be addressed. But I imagine that will come in time.
Aye.
I know it does crop up in supporters' questions and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
hopefully it will be addressed.
Dave, I'm enjoying this. Peppers. I thought maybe I'd underdone it with the pepper, but it's quite
That's delicious.
on point.
Yeah. Mrs. That season's gonna love this.
Fabulous.
So how did you get into cooking then?
I got into cooking when I worked at C.R. Smith. My boss was into his cooking. And he wasn't a great chef in any shape or form, and neither am I, if I'm just an amateur. And he said to me, the first thing you want to buy is a good sharp knife. A good chef's knife. So I bought that, and the first cookbook I bought was Ainsley Harriet's Meals and Nats. And that changed my whole attitude to cooking. I thought, amazing. I actually made one of these dishes. It was smoked ham paella, which incidentally we might have been having tonight. And I made that and I thought, oh my God, this is an absolutely incredible dish. The taste, the flavours in it, I thought this is a new me. And that was in '98. So 25 years and then cooking dishes and you're getting friends and family over and you should apply for MasterChef and you should do this, you should do that. So I did apply for MasterChef. And that was in 2019. And I made it to the final 56 on the television. But I had to turn it down because you were to film. This was the year of the lockdown. This was the one that I would have been on, but the one that everybody had been watching during the lockdown.
Okay.
So you had to start filming on the 28th and 29th of October and be available for 35 days up to and including the 20th of December.
Right.
So it's 7 weeks, and I thought to myself, I know that we'll get through the first couple of rounds. After that, it's anyone's game. The producer says to me, they're not looking for the finished article, they're looking for someone who's going to learn.
Yeah.
He said, because what you don't see, when you're cooking for John and Greg, John is going to ruin, Greg's having a carry on, so you make your football Robert. I mean, he says, he'll be just chatting to you all the time. He says, because you're quite engaging with us. He says, John will be saying, he'll be tasting your food that you don't get to see on the television. Put a wee bit of salt in that. Wee bit of salt.
Oh, okay.
Go put half a chilli in that, take the seeds out. Bash it up and add that. He's teaching you.
Right.
Add this, add that. Don't put as much as that in. So John Thoreau's teaching you bits and pieces. So after the first round or two, I would imagine I would have probably, that might have been it, but I don't know. You don't know where it went. But then I thought to myself, I'm kind of more needed here, because business was slowed down. You're coming into the winter time, and people were depending. There was 75 people working at the company, and I thought I'm kind of more needed there than trying to be famous on MasterChef. So I stick to my Twitter photographs, and that's as good as it gets. And the Bobby's Bistro thing on Facebook, and then that's it. That's it. So that's how the cooking came about, and I've kept at it ever since.
You're not going to go back in for it again?
Nah, too old for it now. I've got businesses to run, and I'm 56 now, so I need to.
You're not 56.
Aye, 56 years old. Aye.
You look at least 55. I'm kidding on you.
What
Much younger on the skin. It's nice. It's a very, very beautiful skin he's got.
Fabulous. So no, it's just a thing that I just do. The deal in the house is I do the cooking and walk the dog, and Lorna, my wife, she'll clean the house and cut the grass and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I do all the cooking in my house as well. My wife hates cooking.
Does she?
She likes the toast to boil over. She's that bad. No, I'm joking, Neil. Really. No, she's just terrified. She's just terrified of the kitchen. It's not her domain. I mean, she'll open this evening I'm across here, so she's making her own dinner and stuff like that. She's more than capable. I mean, I was away. I used to go away for 4, 5, 6 months at a time. So it's not like she lived on cornflakes and baked potatoes. She used to make her own stuff.
Oh yeah.
But it's just, I quite, like yourself, I quite enjoy cooking. I first started at sea. I was in the kitchen department, and I trained to be a chef. And I've done maybe 5 or 6 months, and I suddenly realised actually I don't want to do this. I want to go work on deck, and that's where I sort of work my way up that way. So I kind of keep it as a little hobby myself. I used to be all like yourself, all like preparing stuff, but now my job, I'm working until 6 o'clock at night, and it just
it's a difficult way.
Yeah, just. But the thing is, I'm now working from home, so I'm getting back into.
Get a lot of time.
Yeah.
Aye. That's no. I'm fortunate as well where I can duke away and get a wee bit of preparation done for an hour, because especially on Saturday, if I didn't get a ticket for football, we're not doing anything. I'm in here. I'll watch James Martin in the morning, and then I'll come in here. I'll mess about. I'll put Super Scoreboard and listen to him talking garbage.
I don't believe you go on Twitter and not anyone.
So that's what I do. But that's why I'm probably on my third account there. Mental.
I didn't notice that yet.
Aye. Right, so we're good.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. If you have done, I would like to thank Paul for coming along and being the first guest on the Every Other Saturday Kitchen. Who was it that named that? Who was it that came up with that?
Was it you?
It wasn't me.
Was it Scott?
It might have been Scott.
He's got nothing better to do anyway, so he probably wants him.
I've stolen it, I'm having it. I'm having it. So in conjunction with the Battle Fever Network, I would like to say thank you for joining in. Thanks to Paul.
Thank
An
you very
absolute
much for
pleasure.
having me.
I'm glad you like the
Yeah,
food.
amazing.
And we'll do it again sometime. So anybody got any questions, just fire away to ourselves on Twitter and it's all good. So thanks for tuning in, as I said, and we'll catch you again. Cheers.